Thank you very much for joining us to our very first story, and let's do some politics. And the Wa High Court this morning dismissed a case brought before it by David Banye to disqualify Roger Gali from standing in the NDC Nadoli Kalio primaries. Rafiq Salam, our correspondent on this beat, joins us live now from the region with details of this particular situation. Rafiq, now tell us much more about this. This is the same constituency where we have the majority leader Alban Bagbin contesting, right?
Yes, that's the same constituency in the Nadoli Kalio constituency.
So tell us about this suit and why it was brought about in the first place.
This guy called Banya David, he's one of the Irans, and then he took Roger Gali at court, praying the court to disqualify him from contesting the elections. Remember 2012, Roger Gali was disqualified by the NDC for poaching at the Ibongo Game Reserve. And so this is an issue he petitioned or he took to the court, but the court, after going through the proceedings, the High Court, supervising High Court judge, Justice Kwasi Boache, dismissed the case.
I see. So as things stand now, he is still going to contest based on this court judgment, right? Yes,
Roger Gali is a candidate for tomorrow's election, and then he's going to contest against the majority leader, Alban Manakins Borbabin, and one John Salfu Adumba, who is the regional commander of SEPS in the Upper East region. But the latest news is that David Banya has just held a press conference and has just said that he is withdrawing from the race.
Did he cite reasons for his withdrawal?
Banya is saying that he has seen that the majority leader, Alban Manakins Borbabin, is a better candidate because he has served in parliament for more than 20 years. He thinks that Alban Manakins Borbabin could serve the people very well in parliament. And so we think that the best decision for him now is to opt out of the race and throw his support to Alban Manakins Borbabin.
Many thanks for that update, Rafiq Salam from the Upper West region. Now, still on the NDC primaries that is scheduled to take place tomorrow, Central Region correspondent Richard Kojunyakon has been speaking to some aspirants ahead of the big day. Here are excerpts.
Obviously the youngest. What makes you confident? I'm confident because I'm the homeboy. I'm the one who is resident with the people. I'm the one who meets the people on a day-to-day basis. I'm the one who can help the people with their needs. I happen to be a contractor. I'm into construction. So basically where they are having issues with their where they are having issues in abandoned projects, I happen to move in, and with my own money, I happen to take care of such projects.
Why are you coming back again? Aspect that is why I'm coming again, because I'm not coming on my own, you understand? Because even the project I started, like lobbying for school buildings, when you go to Jankwa, the state in which I left it is still there. You go to Bedu, the state I left it, it is there. Jinankuma, the same. You go to Srafa Kokodo, the same. And therefore you go to so many places that the infrastructure I started is still the same. The realization of the people themselves, seeing that I was thrown out of office by falsehood.
What do you mean by falsehood?
Well, the incumbent MP now was spreading a lot of falsehood about me. If you come to Chufue Timokwa as a district capital, as to Praso precisely, if you come to the place, you can see that from Praso to Fosu to Dunkwang Road, which link to district capitals. Unfortunately, from 2000 or 1990 something, we have not seen a bitumen. And now, I've worked of which the government have accepted us, and now the contractors on site doing that project. So that gives me the mad confidence that I'm going to win this election.
This is a 50-50 chances. Everybody can win.
Everybody. But so you are not confident that you have an edge over him?
Oh, it's a contest. So you can't say you are 100% ahead. It's a contest. And the battle is only won after the battle. You can't say even 1 minute to the fourth time. It's like a football match.
Now, the Greater Accra Regional Executive Committee of the ruling NDC has cautioned all parliamentary aspirants and all registered members of the party not to campaign from today. Now, the chairman of the party in the Greater Accra region says it is important for all aspirants and supporters to respect the set out rules to enable peaceful elections on Saturday as the party makes history in the democratic dispensation of Ghana.
Tomorrow is the D-Day that everybody is expecting from NDC, because this is a new system we are embarking upon, allowing adult suffrage, so that everybody who is a member of the party entitled to vote. Everything is in place. We've designated the polling areas where the elections will take place all over Greater Accra. The ballot papers are ready, and they are going to be dispatched this morning to the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commissioner is the sole organizer of this election, because we are treating it as a national election. So all the conditions and regulations that exist for national election is being applied. Yeah, and today we are asking that there must be a 24-hour cooling period. You know, that's during national elections. On the eve of the elections, no campaign, so that people will cool down and take stock of what they've done and then move on to go and vote tomorrow. So we are asking all. Yesterday we met all the aspirants and all the executives and informed them that as of today, they should cease campaigning. They should stop having radio interviews or television programs, so that you have a fair leveling field for the elections tomorrow.
But if someone is found wanting,
we will sanction the person. Okay. Yeah, definitely, because you are not a team player. You need to be a team player.
Right.
He added that the party has succeeded largely in cleaning its register and is confident the outcome will be good in tomorrow's election. He however cautioned that anyone who does not find his or her name should not cause problems.
We displayed the register and people went to look at it. We did everything that the national constitution asks us to do when we are doing elections. So people brought complaint forms, those whose names were not in but were duly registered. So it's been clean. So far, we can say that I keep saying that it cannot be 100% perfect. Even in our own life, there's no perfection, at least. But to the best of our abilities, we've been able to clean it and ensure that in Greater Accra, about 250,000 people registered to vote, the 34 constituencies. So hopefully, if you go and you find your name there, you have to vote. If you don't find your name there, it shouldn't be a problem. There will be another time.
I wanted to know what people can do tomorrow if they don't find their name.
If you don't find your name, this is not it's not a war situation. If you don't find your name, all that you need to do is to step aside and let the process continue. This is a new system that we are starting. Even during national elections, the register will be displayed. You go and see that your name is there. But when you come on the day of the vote, you go and you can't find your name. So the computer can jump you wherever it is. So that doesn't mean...
I'm just hoping this education has gone down well enough that tomorrow nobody will disrupt the election.
No. If you have no business, all constituency executives are not to go near the election area. Okay. You just have to go individually to go and exercise your franchise. If you go and your name is not there, just peacefully back out. It is not the end of the world. There's no need for you to cause, because the police will arrest you if you go and do that. And why will you want to be arrested?
Well, Mr. Ade Coker also endorsed President Mahama's comments that perhaps minority MPs have been sleeping, hence their comments that they do not see what loans contracted by the government are used for. Yesterday, President Mahama, addressing a rally at Ho in the Volta region, made fun of the minority for sleeping on the job.
Chief propagandist of Hitler, he was called Goebbels. And I said that there is a lot of Goebbelian misinformation in our system, where people intentionally put out propaganda to mislead other people, to mislead the electorate. Recently, there have been comments about the economy. Indeed, the minority held a press conference on the economy. And at the press conference, they said, this government has borrowed a lot of money, and they don't know what we have done with the money. Then it means they are sleeping in Parliament. Because this government cannot borrow one single loan without taking it to Parliament for approval. And in the approval, you have to write everything you are going to do, use the money for. So if you are the same people approving the loans for us in Parliament, and you said we don't know what, you don't know what we are doing with it, then you don't deserve to be in Parliament. And so it is just part of the disinformation. It says, oh, you borrowed a lot of money, we don't know what you've done with it. So have you been sleeping? Anytime we come and ask for a loan, we tell you we're using it for Ade water supply system.
You see the opposition MPs saying the government has brought some money and they can't see any development. Sometimes I cringe, and I'm of the same opinion of the president, that you are in Parliament. And I've said this several times when I've had interaction with them. You are in Parliament. If you're asking me what has the loan, I can see what the loans have been used for. But you are in Parliament, you pass the bill for the law or whatever, the loan agreements. You pass them. So you are in a better position to go and you have an assurance committee in Parliament who goes to see whether the job has been done. So you can't come and sit and ask where's the money. So the presidency probably when they go.
It's mere politics they're doing when they talk about not seeing.
You see, my dear, just from here, you go across the street, about 2 kilometers from you, 1 kilometer from you, you see a huge edifice coming up, that the circle interchange. You go to the Ridge Hospital, you can see it. Go to the University of Ghana, you can see the medical school. Only yesterday, you saw the University of Allied. Exactly. So what are you talking about? Can't we see? Then you are sleeping. And I applaud the president for saying that. No apologies whatsoever.
And that was Greater Accra Regional Chair of the ruling NDC, Ade Coker, in an interview there with my producer, Martha Krenzel Aqua. Meanwhile, Deputy Minority Leader Dominic Nitiwo has hit back at President Mahama for describing minority members of Parliament as, quote, sleeping on the job for refusing to acknowledge developmental projects carried out with contracted loans by his government. Now, speaking earlier on News Desk, Mr. Nitiwo said the president is deliberately deceiving Ghanaians as to what really the numerous loans contracted by his government are being used for. He's advising the president to stop the propaganda and tell Ghanaians the truth about the real use of borrowed funds under his administration.
We sleep on our job. The president knows that when it comes to Parliament, it is the minority that's doing even the job that the majority are supposed to do. Because obviously the role of Parliament does not include only the passing of loans and approval of loans. It includes legislation. In fact, the primary duty of the member of Parliament is legislation, and he knows very well that when it comes to legislative work in Parliament, it's the minority that is actually doing the job. He knows very well. He knows that many of the bills that come to Parliament with many mistakes and distortions, the winning is done mostly in the minority leaders' office. The people who normally do a lot of the work, apart from the chairman who is on the floor, are mostly minority members, and the Hansard can bear that out. So when the president says that we are sleeping on our job, he may have been addressing a particular issue. And if it is just the issue of loans, we are ready to respond to him.
Okay, so to the specific issue of loans, now the president makes mention of the fact that, well, you claim that you seem not to be seeing what he uses the many loans the government has contracted for those particular purposes. Now, the case that is just deliberate sabotage, as some would put it.
I think that the president is either misleading the public, or, like some would use the word, throwing dust into the eyes of the public, or he doesn't know exactly how it is going in Parliament. I will use the first one because...
So you're saying the president is either ignorant or lying, in other words?
I'm saying that I think he's not being truthful. That's what I would say. Because he's been an MP for 8 years, 12 years, so to say that he's ignorant would be far-fetched. But I think that he's deliberately misleading the people.
And you said the president is saying all this because he's ill informed?
No, so somebody didn't inform him properly.
And by somebody, you mean those who handle the finances? Obviously, the finance minister.
I think that those around him who handle his financial matters are misinforming him. And he's also going about
is it a case that they do not know the right figures, or they are just deliberately misinforming the
propaganda? They are deliberately misinforming the people of Ghana and using it for political ends.
The New Patriotic Party has challenged President John Dramani Mahama to show Ghanaians his so-called impressive track record since he assumed office. In a statement, the acting chairman of the party, Freddie Blay, stated that instead of focusing on the NPP, the president should rather concentrate on fulfilling his numerous broken promises to Ghanaians. The statement was in response to comments made by the president during a rally in the Volta region to round off his Changing Lives, Transforming Ghana tour. The president describing the NPP as a party in turmoil and questioned who the chairman of the NPP was. You're watching News Today here on Joy News Multi TV. We're taking a break. We'll be back shortly with some more. Don't go away. Thank you for staying with us here on News Today. Now, the NDC primaries seem to be taking a toll on parliamentary proceedings. Parliamentary correspondent Elton Bobe reports that only 7 members were present when sitting started. Now, Elton Bobe joins us live now over the telephone. Elton, now, is sitting ongoing? Has sitting already started? And what's the situation now?
Well, the Speaker has adjourned sitting till next week, Tuesday, because the House did not form a quorum at the time proceedings started at 11:15. Now, when the Speaker walked into the chamber, there were only 7 members from the majority side and about 25 on the minority side. After the usual pleasantries, the Member of Parliament for Nkwanza North, Major Retired Ade drew the Speaker's attention to Standing Order 48.1, which says that the presence of at least 1/3 of all the members of Parliament besides the person presiding shall be necessary to constitute a quorum of the House. Now, the same provision goes on to say that if at the time of sitting a member takes a notice of objection that are present in the House besides the person presiding, members of Parliament, and after an interval of 10 minutes, a quorum is not present, the presiding, that's the Speaker, shall adjourn the House without question put onto the next sitting. So the Speaker was invited to pronounce judgment on this particular subject. Now, the Speaker for the presentation of the business statement for next week, after which the minority members, prevailed on him to rule on the motion put before him. A member actually shouted on the floor that they should walk away, they should actually leave the chamber if the Speaker was not going to rule on this particular matter. And the Speaker, as any member who wants to leave the chamber, was at liberty to do so. So after the 10 minutes interval, and the House, the numbers in the chamber were still not up to the number required to transact government business, the Speaker adjourned the House to Tuesday. And obviously this is because of the tomorrow's parliamentary primaries of the NDC, because most of them, almost all of them, with the exception of 4 members who are not seeking re-election and 2 who are going unopposed, all the other members on the majority side are seeking re-election. So most of them are in their constituencies campaigning ahead of the primaries on Saturday. So that's how come Parliament in itself was, a ghost chamber today. Interesting, I might say. But so what really to be the situation today in Parliament? What were some of the things they were expected to discuss on the floor of Parliament today? I think basically, I'm sure you were aware after the presentation of the 2016 budget, the Speaker adjourned for today, Friday, 20th November. My understanding is that the adjournment was taken to allow members on the ruling NDC to go on and campaign, because since the House started proceedings, the attendance has really not been the best. And today, because the House next week will have to be guided by a business statement, that's how come the House was recalled today, so that the business statement will be taken. That will be the foundation upon which the House will work next week, because next week, debate on the 2016 budget will start, plus other issues that will occupy the attention of members of Parliament. So basically, they came in today not to do business, but just to adopt the business statement going into next week. Right. Elton Bobe, many thanks for that update from Parliament. And Elton Bobe is our parliamentary correspondent. Now, one of the contestants in the Ablekuma primaries yet to be conducted, Ronnie Kwesi Nicole, says
the NPP should allow private business people to contest, not only lawyers. He spoke to sister station Adom TV.
Well, my main three issues I want to tackle is the first one is the sanitation issue. We have a lot of sanitation problems in certain areas in Ablikman West we need to address and make sure these problems are solved. Secondly, I want to help us to build community hospitals and community facilities that will help the constituency at large. And thirdly, youth unemployment. There's a lot of youth who are currently not working, those who have gone to school and those who have not gone to school. And I want to help work with modules such as the youth unemployment to help these youth get jobs and get access to quality education as well.
How many people are you contesting?
We are currently one aspirant and our incumbent MP, Honorable Oslo.
So finding yourself within, about 3 or 4 people, are you not afraid?
No, I'm not afraid. I believe I've done a lot of work in the constituency to be given the mandate to lead the people of Ablikman West.
As the primary holds that is in court, what are some of the challenges in your campaign?
Well, one of the challenges we're facing is the delay in the election. And currently, a lot of people are, worried with the delay. That what are we waiting for? The constituency is quiet. They're not hearing anything. But I want to assure them that we're a loving democratic party, and I believe the time will come. The party will give us the vetting date and an election date, and I know we'll definitely have our elections. And I'll plead with the delegates of Ablikman West to vote for me massively, to give me the mandate to lead them into the general elections, where we can also do a lot of work to make sure we maximize votes for our flag bearer, Nana Akufo-Addo.
So what encouraged you to go into politics?
What encouraged me to go into politics was coming from the private sector. I realized there was a lot of policies that needed to be implemented where as much as you do your best in the private sector, sometimes you feel you can give your quota to your country by serving your country through politics. And I will encourage other young people in the private sector to get on board, because I feel we need more private sector businessmen in politics, and then they will help build this country and move us forward.
Well, time now to check out the very latest right here on News Today. And in business today, finance at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. GODFRED BOKPIN is predicting doom for the country's economy if strict measures are not put in place to check the country's current debt stock. Speaking earlier on News Desk, Dr. BOKPIN said the country needs to place more emphasis on investing in self-financing projects while ensuring value for money in the execution of these projects. He adds, not enough is being done to protect the public purse as regards prudent spending.
Economy has a way of providing a positive feedback of how well you have managed the economy. There's nothing other than what we are saying. Okay, so if you put those debt to good use, the economy will provide a feedback. Growth will pick up. We should be growing in excess of 7%, not 4.1%. Because the challenge is that if the addition to the debt to GDP ratio in terms of borrowing, in terms of in-debt servicing, is not fully offset by real economic growth, then the country is exposed. The problem in this country is that we contract these loans all right, but we are unable to get, full value for money. A project that should cost, let's say, 30, will end up spending about 90 for it. Okay. Then at the end, they realize that the economy has been shortchanged to some extent, even though you would have gone for the debt. So when we also talk about debt sustainability, there are a number of indicators. We can talk about the present value of export revenue to debt ratio. We can talk about debt to GDP ratio. We may not be doing badly in terms of the policy dependency threshold established by the IMF and the World Bank. But one key area that we should be concerned is, as a country, the amount of money that we are using to service our debt to tell us that we have borrowed perhaps beyond a certain point. And perhaps the way we have invested those monies, maybe it will take time for us to get the fruit, or the economy is not generating sufficient cash flow to be able to contain the debt. This is where our problem is. Let's go back to the 2016 budget. The country, we are able to raise revenue on our own, 28.9 billion cedis. Out of this amount, 10.5 billion cedis goes to just debt servicing.
We are spending more than 1/3 of every cedi revenue we are able to generate in this country just to service our debt. And I am sorry for Ghana. This is not good news. Because this has the potential of crowding out priority spending. It means that this 10-point-something billion could have been used maybe in building hospitals, in completing certain roads on our own or whatever. But you see, I'm not blaming anybody. This is the level of rigidity that the system imposes on us. And these were created by our own actions and inactions over the years. That is now taking a toll.
So looking into the future, does the future look that bleak?
I think that we have control. As a country, we have to determine what we want for ourselves. And then.
But should we go on this same tangent? Should we go on this particular tangent?
There's no future if we speed up along this way. There's no point in speeding up when you are heading for the wrong direction.
The National Insurance Commission has presented a check of 1,000 Ghana cedis and some fire equipment to the Ghana National Fire Service. The gesture, according to the Commissioner, Lydia Lariba Bauer, is to support the fire service in its 2015-2016 bushfire campaign.
As insurers, we cannot underestimate the importance of that the service renders. This is because the continuous reduction in the outbreaks and accidents ultimately inure to the benefit of the insurance industry in terms of reduced claims payment and in fact to the whole nation at large. It is in the light of this that the National Insurance Commission, as part of its 25th anniversary celebrations, is pleased to do those items and monies to the Ghana National Fire Service towards the 2015-2016 anti-bushfire campaign. The amount of, we're bringing, apart from the items we're donating, we're also bringing a check of 100,000.
Receiving the items on behalf of the Ghana National Fire Service, Chief Fire Officer Dr. Albert Brongezi assured the service will make good use of the items to prevent and fight fires, especially during the YULETIDE.
In recent times, this has been one of the highest ever contribution made by a corporate institution in Ghana to fire. And I want to assure her and the management of the National Insurance Commission that once it is by law and the prerogative of the National Insurance Commission, the fire service will assist them through the task force to mobilize as many funds as possible.
Now let's talk about power, and we'll bring you much more on a power forum that occurred this morning at, we'll bring you much more on that power forum, and let's get you excerpts of it.
When you look at the capacity of the sector, however, it would appear on paper we have more than enough power. Installed capacity is 2,900. I've got Kofi from BRA here, Mr. Kofi Ellis. Tell me if I'm wrong. The country is using about 2,100 megawatts. So we have 800 megawatts, quote unquote, spare. Of course, is it really spare? I mean, experts will tell you and clarify that. But installed capacity is 2,900. The country is using 2,100. But every day, available generation is between 1,400 and about 1,650. So that means every day in 2015, we are shedding 400 to 500 megawatts every day, despite having a capacity of 2,900. The last gazetting of the PURC tariff had the bulk generation charge that BRA is paid at 14.6 pesos, which is just under 4 US cents. That is just a bit higher than the cost of running hydro. Thermal plants run at 15 to 18 cents depending on the price of crude. But the price the PRC allows VRA to operate is less than 4 US cents. When you add up the transmission and the distribution, of course ECD has a graduated tariff for different classes of customers, but it's around 35 pesos, which is about 10 US cents. So that's for background. And then of course when you look back over the 20 years, we've had 3 notable periods of load shedding. We've had the 98, 99, or 97, 98, I think most of you remember that. We've had the 2006, 2007, and of course now we're in our current load shedding period, which I don't think I have to tell any of you about.
So that's it for business. Time now to check out the very latest in sports with Benedict Osu. And before we go, motorists would have a field day going into Christmas as far as the inspection of driver's license is concerned. I was speaking at a press briefing by the Ghana Police Service. The Director General of the Motor Traffic and Transport Department, DCO Botoge Awuni, said failure of the DVLA to issue licenses to qualified drivers has left his department with no other option but to take the very hard decision of allowing drivers to drive without license.
Policemen should allow the drivers to have their license before we go ahead to inspect them. Why are we saying this? We strongly believe that it is not the making of the driver that his license is kept at the DVLA. And then all of us are aware the problems that have gone to the involving the DVLA and licenses. So now that they are coming out, it will be unfair on our part to just jump on the drivers and say that produce your driver's license. Well, we know very well that some of them, in fact, yesterday when we were in Bolga, the Bolga DVLA man is yet to come to Accra to collect 810 to go and distribute to his people. So if I ask the MTU men in Bolga to start asking of driver's license in Bolga, I don't think that I'm being fair to them. It is not their fault. It is the fault of another state institution that they are now distributing the driver's license. So all that we need to do is to allow them a grace period. And that is why, for example, telling policemen not to inspect license within this period is a painful decision that we are taking. This is the period we all understand cause accidents. And so when we are asking them not to inspect license, it means we are not, but then it is not their fault.
And that's how we end news today here on Joy News Multi TV. My name is Kwabena Chenchen Heneboating. For more news, do all to log on to myjoyonline.com. Enjoy the rest of our bulletins.